If you've been a fan of the channel since 2021, you'd know that I am a Railway Series fan. From the ways I've designed my engines, to how I built my stations, the decision in my set design, and even using the Reverend's own material as visual guidance. But what items of this book series' history do I actually own? Well, I thought I'd show that off today. The general outline of this collection is 1. Material written by or about Wilbert himself. 2. Merchandise relating to or released during a time when the Reverend was still alive. And 3. Items connected to the Railway series somehow, some way. And so, with all introductions out the way, let's dive into my collection of Railway series memorabilia. Starting off small, we have an Ertl model of the Reverend's namesake, Wilbert. One of the first Ertls to appear in my videos, and additionally, one of the least used. He's pretty much mint condition, and in fact, I may still have his packaging. Somewhere in the fucking house. Next up, we have a factory Aracaldi. I want to say it took me a while to notice it, but he has Godred's face. A happy accident, this one. And now one of the holy grails of my entire collection, the brown troublesome trucks. Snagged these for a solid 60 quid, which sounds like a lot, and you're right, but considering their rarity, this was the cheapest I found. Was at the right place at the right time with these guys. Here's an oddball, the Hornby Clockwork Thomas, with the original key. A while back, my mother surprised me with a bunch of Hornby tracks she got off Vinted, which included this little bastard too. You gotta love the face on him. Also included in that lot was this paper face Ertl Bertie. The seller actually printed out a parts list with it, with a very charming description for the red bus. I'll throw an image on screen now if I do manage to find it. And the last toy on display here, as well as the newest, is the 2015 Wooden Railway Broomstick Thomas. No other anniversary release will ever top this item, especially considering the obvious. A personal favourite next is the Day on Audrey's Railway DVD from the Tallylinn Railway. This is probably the most unique item of the collection. It's a demonstration of the Farquhar branch's timetable ran by the Reverend during model exhibitions. It was such a surreal experience watching Wilbert's models properly at work and even hearing his own voice read out the trains to go along with the footage. Would love to see the TR sell more copies of this DVD. Now is the book that every Thomas fan should own. It's The Thomas the Tank Engine Man, written by Brian Sibley. This is the book detailing Wilbert's upbringing, how the series came to be, and stories about the people that made it all happen. I remember first reading this at Hayling Island in 2021, and it honestly felt like riding a bike for the first time. Knowing certain pieces of information that the fandom's parroted for years to then seeing it all spelt out right there in my hands, it was such a wonderful feeling. Cannot recommend this book highly enough. Next is the crown jewel of this collection, the ever-elusive Railway Series surprise packet. Very, very few people actually own this item, so naturally I feel privileged to be in that camp. 70s kids ate real good with this. Right beside the surprise packet are the two annuals written by Wilbert, from 1979 and 1980 respectively. These are also quite hard to come by, so pounce on a listing when you see it. Both are very charming reads, with various activities, history, and features the best artwork the series has ever seen. Love these. And last, but certainly not least, is the Railway series itself. This is specifically the complete box set from 1994, and I'm super attached to it. The decision to frame the artwork like a station is fucking brilliant. So much so that they did this again a couple times moving forward. I also have the 2015 box set along with the complete collection, however this one's just more visually appealing to me. The lid is quite fragile though, so I usually use the other one when I need to grab a book. Now we come to stuff I own that's more tied to certain figures of the series than the series itself. First up is actually something by the Reverend. Belinda the Beetle, published in 1958, with illustrations by Ionicus. I bought this with the intention of reading it for a video, but never went through with it unfortunately. Regardless, it's still a nice item to own all in all. Right next to that is Belinda Beats the Band, published in 1961 and illustrated by John Kenny. Same story with the first edition with this, wanted to read for a video but didn't manage. Was kinda tricky scouting this one out as I couldn't find the right cover. The first one I bought looks like this if you're curious. Now possibly the most infamous item of this video, Tales of Flitwick Harbour by Reginald Dolby. I don't know how true it is, whether or not he definitely published this book out of spite for Wilbert, but either way, I knew I had to find it. Even so, Wilbert got the last laugh, as the blurb is just a shill for the Railway series. I'd love to see what went down with Ward after this book was published, and someone get me the popcorn. Now on to arguably the most obscure book of the collection, Thomas the Privatised Tank Engine, published under Private Eye in the 90s. Way back in 2020, I saw Railmaster63 post a picture of this on his Instagram and just being so confused. It's basically a satirical hit piece on Britain's rail system by way of multiple short stories. Definitely an oddball for sure. Next we have The Railway Stories, Volume 1, read by Johnny Morris. Listening to the books on record as opposed to video on YouTube is a real experience, and I urge you guys to do the same. So far though, this is the only record I own, and if I had the space for more shelves, I would absolutely get my hands on more volumes. Only time will tell. And finally, we have The Big Book of World Trains, written and illustrated by Edgar Hodges. Remember when ranking the illustrators, I said his work in Audrey's annuals looked like professional art pieces? Yeah, well you can imagine my surprise when I found this book listed. Very happy to own this. And that is my entire Railway series collection. I can't say it's complete, as I would definitely like to add more to both areas. More records in particular would be nice. But at the moment, this is where it stands. Let me know in the comments what items you enjoyed seeing the most, and maybe this video will spread awareness to the lesser known ones on show here. But until then, you've been watching Scrapyard Studios, and I will see you soon.